Week 7 of the Dream Season 2, we are getting into the nitty-gritty of the DSFL 2 season. Texans are 4-2, trying to improve to a 5-2 mark on the year, but the 1-4 Titans having a case here in this interdivision rivalry. A 3-0 start here as we enter the third quarter. Warren Moon underneath, and he is just short of the first down. That one would have been key, getting the Houston Texans in the field goal range. Next third down attempt, Warren Moon hands off to Campbell, and he can't get the first down. And Houston fails yet again on that golden down, and they send the ball right back to the Titans. They add another field goal to make it 6-0 with 1:20 to play. But Casey and the Texans, they take a nasty hit and continue their drive down the field. Third down and 6, and they convert there to get inside the Titans side of the field. And another third down attempt for the Texans, and this one complete inside the red zone. Then the Texans, with 26 seconds to play, get underneath, and Earl Campbell's into the end zone, giving the Titans only one final play.
One play. The other thing here, too, is don't forget Steve McNair has the ability to run it. Probably the final play of the game. It is caught by Dyson. Can he get in? No, he cannot. Goal line. The game is over. The game is over.
McNair and the Titans are 1 yard short of victory. Sound familiar? Now the Texans improved to 5-2 on the year in another gritty game that they win in the last second, and now the Titans are 1-5. Seahawks and the Browns, both teams 1-4, and both teams in the cellars of their division. But this clash would come down to the last couple of seconds as a thriller here in Cleveland would start off with a Mark Mosley touchdown to make it 7-0. But Sean Alexander would reply to tie the game at 7 apiece here in Cleveland right before halftime. But with one final play, Otto Graham gets the best of the Seahawks defense, and Dante Lavelli is gone, 76 yards for the score, and the Cleveland Browns now have a 14-7 lead entering the halftime locker room. Second half possession here for the Seahawks, and Sean Alexander with his second touchdown of the game. This one ties the game at 14 again, and an offensive shootout here. And the Cleveland Browns looking to do the same, travel down the field and score. This is Lavelli to the 25, and the field goal by Graza is good. They bog down. Browns now lead 17-14. Next Seahawks series, more success from the offense, and a 16-yard gallop by Alexander, and he's over 100 yards rushing. And the Browns defense cannot stop that man. And then Hasselbeck to the air, and this time it's Bobby Ingram getting past the defense. And Hasselbeck throws his first TD, and the Seahawks lead it 21-17. Next Brown series, Otto Graham completes to Braylon Edwards, who breaks a tackle on a big truck move, and now Otto Graham back into the red zone. And on a 2nd and goal from the 3, Jim Brown getting the touchdown, and the Browns get the lead. It's now 24-21, and do the Seahawks have a chance? 2nd down and 10 from the 23. Hasselbeck going deep, and it's caught by Bobby Ingram, and he burns the defense deep. And this one, a long 77-yard score by Bobby Ingram and the Seahawks. And now the Seattle Seahawks have the lead. It's 28-24 in Cleveland. 4 big TDs by the Seattle Seahawks today, and the Cleveland Browns on 4th and 10. One final chance, they can't do it. Cleveland loses a winnable one here at home, and the Seahawks improve to 2-4 on the season. Lions hosting the Falcons, and 2 teams that have struggled so far in the DSFL take off here. And early on, things would go the Falcons' way again. Nate Burleson fumbles the football, picked up by Thomas DeCoud with his second fumble recovery in 2 weeks. And this time, the Lions give the ball right back to the Falcons, yet they cannot take advantage. Bogged down in the red zone and settle for a field goal. It's 3-0 now. Bobby Lane completes a Calvin Johnson leaping catch, and boy, we've seen that a lot by Megatron, but he injures himself. This is a broken collarbone, the report, and he's out for 7 weeks. A big blow by the Lions, but Barry Sanders proves that we don't need the big play wideout to score on offense. This one a long 87-yard touchdown run, and the Lions hold off for the victory. The final 24-16, and both teams are now 2-5 in the DSFL 2. Broncos start the year at 2-3 and hoping to spoil the Miami 6-0 undefeated hopes and they start out with a Terrell Davis gash right up the middle. A 64-yard touchdown run by Terrell Davis for Denver, and now it's 7-0 here in Miami. And at home, the Dolphins early on trail by 10 points, but that's before, with 20 seconds to go, Mark Duper is back into the end zone, and the Dolphins have it within a field goal game after the long reception goes for 6. But on the last play of the first half, Brandon Lloyd burns the defense, and a quick score by the Denver Broncos puts them back to a 10-point lead. And now the Dolphins, entering the third quarter, have to get some sort of an offensive rhythm, and Ricky Williams can help with that. 30 yards, and the Dolphins are into the end zone. The injury would be irrelevant as he would return to the field. Now it's a 6-point game, and the Dolphins need another drive entering the fourth quarter. 4th and 2, they go for it, and Mark Duper is clutch in the fourth quarter. Conversion, and on a 1st down and 10, Mercury Morris right up the gut, and the ball flies into the crowd, but the Dolphins are back in the end zone and have a 1-point lead here with 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Now the 2-minute warning. John Elway on 3rd and 5, complete to Floyd Little, and he breaks a tackle and barely gets that 1st down, starting the Denver drive here. 2nd down and 10, Elway to the air again, and Lionel Taylor burns the Dolphins defense, and now the Broncos retake the lead, and with a 2-point conversion, they extend their lead to 28-21, and the Miami Dolphins has to score yet again to even tie the game at 28 apiece. On 2nd down and 10, after a Duper reception from the 45, and be complete on the sideline to Herman Moore, and now on a 1st down and 10, the Dolphins move the chains again as it's complete to Hardy, and they are back into the red zone. And with 27 seconds to go, then the Dolphins get in the end zone. The loft pass is caught by the tight end Hardy, and the Dolphins tie this game yet again at 28 apiece, and we enter overtime. 1st down and 10 from the 38. The Broncos get the overtime coin toss, and they drive right down the field. 3rd down and 12. Elway under pressure, and it's complete to Rod Smith, who gets the Broncos into field goal range, at least for Elam, that is. And the kick is right down Broadway, and the Broncos stun the Dolphins, and Miami loses their first game of the year. They're now 5-1. Broncos 3-3. Chargers and the Jets, a contest between two teams in the cellars of their division. But early on, it'd be Joe Namath's Jets as Broadway Joe completes it to Don Maynard. 73 yards for the score, and the Jets strike first at 7-0 with only 50 seconds lapsed into the first quarter. And now they lead 10-3 into the third, but Dan Fouts and the Chargers respond. Charlie Joyner down the sideline, 80 yards this time for 6. Now San Diego ties the game at 10 apiece and kicks a field goal to take the lead 13-10. On 4th down, one final shot for Broadway Joe going deep, and Namath's pass is incomplete. And the Jets lose their 5th game of the year in a game that was as sloppy as the weather. The Chargers improved to 2-4, but are still last in the West. Bears and the Buccaneers. No team is at home, so that means we must be in London, England. Doug Williams is complete to, yes, Mike Williams, and he's down the sideline. Across to the 40, to the 30, can he go? Pushed out of bounds by Petit Mon after 65 big ones. Tampa Bay caps the drive off with a 4-yard touchdown pass to Keyshawn Johnson. Buccaneers score first at 7-0. Bears ensuing series. 2nd down and 8. Mike Ditka is complete, but he cannot cap it off with a touchdown, but Gale Sayers can do that. 6 yards for the touchdown, and Chicago ties the game at 7 apiece. Gale Sayers back in the end zone. Following a Tampa Bay 3-and-out, the Bears have a chance to actually take the lead here early in the third quarter, but Lewis with the interception, and later on, Doug Williams with another touchdown, Mark Carrier to make it 14-7. First TD scored in that end of the field. Can the Bears score there too? We start the fourth quarter, and on a 4th down and 4, Luckman to try and tie the game at 14 is sacked on 4th down. Leroy Selman there. Now the Bears get one final chance with under a minute to go, but Luckman is sacked again and gets injured for the game. He'll be back next week, but for the remainder of the game, it'd be Billy Wade that would have to rally the troops to tie it at 14, and his pass is intercepted. Keep Talib going the other way. Both teams are 5-2, but the Bucs are riding a 4-game winning streak. Redskins and the Panthers in a sloppy defensive game, and who can blame them in these conditions? 2nd and 3 from the 33, and Lionel Taylor gets inside of the Panthers side of the field. Redskins score 2 field goals, and Art Monk catches the first touchdown of the game. Redskins win 21-7 and are now first in the East at a 3-3 mark. 3-2 Chiefs travel to Oaktown to take on the 5-1 Raiders. And Oakland proving they can score in all sorts of fashions. This one a blocked punt, and now it's 2-0. Janikowski kicks a field goal, and it's 5-0. Len Dawson with an interception, and George Atkinson gets the ball inside the Chiefs' side of the field, and later on, Dave Casper catches this touchdown from Ken Stabler, and now the Raiders lead 12-0. An awkward score, but the Raiders looking to improve to 6-1 on the year, and they get help from their defense. Dawson struggles all day long, and now the Raiders improve to 6-1 and are still first for the race for the number 1 seed. Steelers and the Cardinals, and Arizona should not even be in this game. Pittsburgh only losing 1 game on the year. They lead 6-3, and the Steelers get a nice fumble recovery after the kickoff. Ike Taylor into the end zone, and it's 13-3 in the third quarter. But Terry Bradshaw and the Steelers would goof up with a 2-possession lead in their grasp. Samford with the fumble recovery, and he's in the end zone. And the Cardinals are now only trailing by a field goal. Then Bradshaw, after the fumble, is picked off by Patrick Peterson, and he takes the ball near the Steelers' side of the field, and they kick a field goal to tie the game at 13. Now the Steelers need a drive in the fourth quarter. Under 4 minutes to go. They get in field goal range, and with under a minute left, Yepremian good on the attempt, and now the Steelers have a 16-13 lead. And on the last play of the game, can the Cardinals win one here over the Steelers? The pass is incomplete, dropped by Roy Green. Cards almost upset the Steelers, who are now 6-1. Packers and the Vikings here at the HHH Metrodome, and the game was over before it even started. Paul Hornung into the end zone. Packers score first 7-0 here in Minnesota. Now the Vikings get the next series, and Fran Tarkenton gets injured. He'll be back towards the end of the game, but it would be the backup Warren Moon that would make his first mistake on his first throw of the game. Charles Woodson picks up the fumble, and he has sights on 6 points. This one gone. A 70-yard fumble recovery for 6, and the Heisman Trophy winner does his own little dance in the end zone. 14-0 start for the Packers, and that was just the beginning of the domination here for the Green Bay Packers. Amon Green, 21-0. And then with 10 seconds to go in the first half, 28-0 at halftime. Vikings in trouble. They fall below 500. Packers 6-1. Rams at 3-3 travel to Dallas to take on the most disappointing team of the DSFL 2 season, the Dallas Cowboys. Early on, though, the defense comes to play. Neon Sanders with the interception. Rams end up scoring a field goal and end up getting the ball into the end zone. Torrey Holt with a touchdown at 10-0. Now Emmitt Smith, the only bright spot of this offense. He does all the work, and Tony Dorsett gets the touchdown, and the Dallas Cowboys are within a field goal here. Can the defense step up? They allow a field goal. Now the offense has one final chance. With a flag, it makes it 4th and 6 from the 31. Field goal range, but they go for it, and it's incomplete. Troy Aikman with a terrible day offensively, and now the Rams seal it with a first down. The Cowboys' favorites to go to the Super Bowl are now 2-4. Colts travel to New Orleans to take on the hot Saints. And early on, after a 7-7 start, it would be Raymond Berry right before halftime to make it 14-7. But the Saints would be right back in that side of the end zone to make it 14-all here in the fourth quarter. And Hobie Brenner back in the end zone to take the lead. It's now 21-14. Colts have given up the lead, but they look to pass their way back to a tie football game. Raymond Berry with a nice reception. And then, with under 2 minutes to play, Marvin Harrison on a blown coverage. And now the game is tied at 21 apiece, but the knockout punch was delivered by the New Orleans Saints. Deuce McAllister right up the gut. And now the Saints improve to 5-2. Colts drop to 4-3, yet still first in the AFC South. Ravens beat the Jags by the final 24-17, and they improved to 3-3 on the year. Jags dropped to 3-4. Now the standings here in the DSFL 2. The Texans, Dolphins, Steelers, and the Raiders lead their divisions in the AFC. These are the remaining standings in the DSFL 2. I will see you next week for week number 8.